Is everybody good?
Yep. Hey, this is a good-looking crowd. I'm gonna take a picture of these guys.
They look good.
Yeah, you guys always take pictures of Millie and us. So, yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, thank you all for being here for Coke Zero Sugar 400 Media Day. I'm going to turn it over to the president of the Speedway, Chip Wow, and our 2011 Coke Zero Sugar 400 champion, David Ragan. Chip?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you all for coming out. It's a beautiful day here at the Daytona International Speedway. We certainly are glad to welcome David Ragan, the 2011 Coke Zero Sugar 400 champion, to town. We're going to have a great day today. We're going to do everything that you do on 4th of July, right? We're going to cook out. We're gonna fish.
Yep.
And we're gonna look at the racetrack. So it's always great to have drivers come in market, and certainly David's been around the sport for a long time, and we're really thrilled to have him here at the Speedway. I would be remiss if I didn't thank our great friends at Bass Pro Shop, one of our tenants at One Daytona. They provided the boats and the guides for today's activities. So thanks to them for all they do for us, not just today, but all year long across the street at One Daytona. So with that, let's talk a little bit about the race, right? So you had a pretty strong speed weeks and are looking to come back. What are your expectations as you come back here in July?
Yeah, it's always awesome to be here at Daytona International Speedway. Just pulling in, seeing the banking coming through the tunnel, it always gives you chill bumps. Doesn't matter if it's the speed weeks in Daytona getting ready to start the season, or the Coke Zero Sugar 400 to mark the midpoint of the season. Daytona has been a good track for our team in the past. My teammate ran 4th in the 500. We were running in the top 10 and got caught up in that wreck with like 10 to go. So we'll build a brand new car to come back here. It's a little different rules package, similar to what we raced at Talladega in April. I think you're going to see fast speeds, high closing rates. Guys can be very aggressive in pushing. And 400 miles, it seems like it's close to the 500-mile race, but, man, that 400-mile race feels so much more intense because we don't have that extra time to play around with strategy, to take it easy toward the end of the race. And so I feel like the drop of the green flag all the way to the checkered flag, 400 miles is very, very intense. Everybody's aggressive. You don't have chance to fall to the back and work your way back up, so everybody wants to hold on to that track position. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back down here in a couple of weeks. My family will be down here. It's always fun to be at the beach on the 4th of July week, and obviously an awesome race on Saturday night. So it'll be here before you know it.
Do you have any questions before we go out to the boats? Raise your hand and we'll go to you. Right over here, we'll go to Zach first, then we'll go to Shane. Zach?
Is there a microphone?
No, just fire.
Hey, you touched on the rules package a little bit, how it's different. What was the biggest difference you noticed at Talladega, and how do you think that's going to apply here?
Well, we've got 150 more horsepower than what we had at the Daytona 500 in speed weeks, and so we don't have the traditional restrictor plate like we've had. It's a tapered spacer, so it has more horsepower, more throttle response. We have a little bit more drag and downforce on the race car, so handling is maybe a little better, but we do have a little bit more pickup in our engine. So the cars punch a bigger hole in the air, and you get faster runs. So you can really close up to the guy in front of you a lot faster. You can push harder. Daytona's a tighter track compared to Talladega, so you don't have as wide of options. So you're not always going to be able to pull out and pass someone. You're going to be forced to push that car in front of you or have to be very methodical in the decisions that you make. So obviously, we'll get down here and have some practice, which generally at the speedways, they aren't very exciting sometimes, the practice sessions. But I think we're going to be forced to get out there and run in big packs and practice because we're still learning. We're going to learn a lot more just down here for a couple of days leading up to the Saturday night race.
Okay, Shane, and then we'll go to Holly.
What's your fishing resume, and are you as comfortable with the pole as you are behind you?
Yeah, Andrew picked us up at the airport and asked, am I ready to catch some fish? And I said, I can throw my pole in the water, or my line in the water, just like anybody. I don't know what the part of whether the fish are going to bite or not.
They're good. I bring my kids out
here.
Yeah,
hopefully you guys, I've got like a little Zebco spinner that I go fish with my kids sometimes. And, yeah, I can throw it in as long as you point me to the right direction. I grew up fishing down in Georgia. I grew up little small farm ponds and stuff like that, so catching largemouth bass and catfish and brim and stuff that was part of our summer months. So it's cool to fish here on Lake Lloyd, and I have fished in the Darrell Gwynn tournament here several years over the past 10 or 12 years, and I've caught some really big fish here. So if the Americrown guys are game for it, whatever we catch, we'll come up here and clean some and eat some for lunch.
We already have hamburgers for lunch,
okay,
so we'll just throw those back.
All right, yeah.
Holly?
I know you get this question a lot probably, but do you attribute your success and your ability to do so well on these big tracks? There's, some drivers that never kind of never get wins on the big tracks, and you've had a lot of success on it.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think two things. I think I take the racing here serious, and I know that you can get involved in wrecks that really aren't of your making, and it can be frustrating. Speedway racing can be very mentally draining because you work hard all day long, and it can all go away very quick and it not be your fault. And I felt like that in the Daytona 500 this year. We made our bed. We led some laps during the race. We ran really strong, but when they wreck in front of you, you just have nowhere to go. And so that's frustrating, and I think some guys, they kind of consider themselves beat when they show up to a speedway, knowing that that's the case, but also knowing that I can make the right moves, make the right strategy calls from the pit box. Our crew chief can, if we have a good car, well, we can be in victory lane too. So I try to keep an open mind and try to do my part and not be lazy going into these races, just expecting, hey, we're probably going to wreck or something like that. So I try to have a good attitude, and I've been very fortunate to drive good race cars. I've driven Ford engines with Doug Yates and Robert Yates and Jack Roush horsepower majority of my career, and I think that makes a difference. I mean, I think that's why you've seen the Penske Ford so strong here at the plate races the last 4 or 5 years. We've been able to win some races, obviously over the course of my career at Roush Fenway Racing. Myself, Matt, Greg, all won some races down here. So it helps when you have a good handling car and a strong horsepower engine under the hood too.
Jamie.
Like in freshwater pond like this, or I've caught some real big marlins off the coast of South Florida down in the Gulf Stream, I guess, fishing near Miami. Like we would go out and catch a couple of 100-pound fish that would be pretty cool. But probably one of the biggest bass I've ever caught is here. What do they call those bass that have like the little bigger teeth? They're kind of they're not a largemouth. They call them, what are they called? Somebody here from Bass Pro with the Bass Pro. What are they called? Peacock. Yeah, who said that? Yeah, you get something. We should give you something.
We'll make you a hamburger.
Yeah, those peacock. I guess that's a peacock bat, but they're like 6 or 8 pounds, and I mean that's a big fish. You feel like you have, you're fishing off the shore. So yeah, probably an 8-pound peacock bass right here at Lake Lloyd.
My other question is just this will be the last time this race runs during the 4th of July.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the tradition that goes along with this and it moving to later in the schedule?
Yeah, I mean the tradition is pretty deep just in my family. My dad raced down here for several races over the mid '80s and had a lot of good memories. And even as a kid, I can remember coming down here during the summer months and going down to Kennedy Space Center, catching a race, catching a tour of the racetrack, stopping by the old Daytona USA. I mean, those were great memories of summer months in July, and you just knew that July 4th weekend you're going to be by the TV that Saturday evening watching the race. And then I've been so fortunate to be able to race in 10 or 12 of these things, and my family loves coming to Daytona this time of the year. So yeah, it'll be an adjustment, but I can only imagine the intensity of that last race before the playoffs the following year. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. But it'll be emotional, I think, for some people that have had some success that have been doing this, and certainly for my family coming down here for the past 30 years. Even before I was born, I think my mom and dad and my older brother have been coming down here for a long time. And the history with Richard winning down here, I think his last win, a lot of cool memories here for the 400-mile race.
Sam.
When you talk to the winners and guys who have finished high, particularly in the summer race, they always seem to say the same thing. Well, we took this car off the hauler and it was already fast.
Yeah.
Is that almost necessary to get ready for this particular race, or is there enough practice time, and how much tweaking can you do to make your car competitive at the top?
That's about our sport today. If you're not prepared and if it's not in the ballpark close when you unload off the truck, it's hard to make a 20th place car a race winning car in a couple of practices, because the rules that we work with today are in such a small box. 15 years ago, you could tweak on quarter panels. You could move your rear windows up and down. You could move the body panels around. I remember when I first started in '07, we would come down with different caps to put on our front fenders to change the downforce, and you can't do that anymore. And so the box is so small that your first 5 laps on the racetrack, from a lap time, how fast your car is, but how it feels. You can improve at 5%, maybe 10%, but the sport we live in today, all these teams are so smart. They have so much emphasis put on building the best car they can. When they show up, they're about all in. All their cards are laid down on the deck. So, yeah, you've got to be able to unload in the ballpark and be pretty close to be competitive and have a shot to win. Yeah, it is the case there. Yeah, it'll be the case this weekend at Sonoma when we turn left and right. You can turn the TV on, and whoever's in that top 10 or 12, that first 30 minutes of practice, there's a great chance that that's going to be your top 5 to 10 at the end of Sunday afternoon. So, again, the margins just aren't there. We can't change that much on our race cars through the weekend, to where years ago you would have different engines throughout the weekend. You would have a qualifying engine, a race engine. You would change a lot of stuff, and you just don't change that much stuff. The emphasis that we put on building our race cars to make sure they're prepared is something that has evolved a lot over the past 10 years.
Okay, we'll go to Steve, then back to Holly. Steve?
Hey, welcome to Daytona again. What would you tell a fan that's never been to this track, never experienced Daytona? What can they expect to see coming out here for the first time seeing the 100 race?
Well, I think this is probably the world-class facility that we race at. I mean, there's other tracks that have cool fan zones and fun stuff to do inside the racetrack, but to have the One Daytona Center, or what do you guys call that, One Daytona now? I mean, I took my kids up there and watched a little bit of the truck race and speed weeks. I mean, it feels like you're walking through a facility that could host a Super Bowl or World Cup or something like that. I mean, it's amazing. There's not a bad seat in the house. It's awesome to see, 2 miles of asphalt where we're going to be going 200 miles an hour. Bring some earplugs. Can you still get in with your own cooler?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's cool. I mean, you try to go to a football game and you can't even carry a purse, I don't carry a purse. My wife does. But,
Sometimes
yeah.
you carry it.
Yeah. I do have a man purse that I brought down here. But, yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Yeah, you can bring a 6-pack of beer in here and some cold cuts and, go in here and watch a great race and an awesome fireworks show. I can't tell you how many times. Well, sometimes I've left the Coke Zero Sugar 400 happy and I've enjoyed the fireworks, but then sometimes I've walked back to my motorhome with a torn up race car and like those fireworks are going. I'm like, I shouldn't be that pissed off anymore. So I should be happy. So yeah, you can get to see a great show, awesome fireworks afterwards. But expect to be blown away by the facility that these guys have here at Daytona. And it's really incredible. The facility the fans have, not only on the outside, but, here the access they have on the racetrack prior to the race for intros. It's a cool thing. The speed? Yeah. And eating some rubber.
Anything else? Mia?
Just wondering, how often do you get to fish at a racetrack, and how unique is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's very unique. Obviously, here in Homestead, they have tracks or have ponds inside of the facility, so I usually do fish at both of them. And sometimes in Michigan, there's a ton of lakes right around the Michigan track. We'll go and, go fishing sometimes when we have a little bit of downtime, but not often. It's unique that this pond's here. And one of my good friends that is one of the oldest living NASCAR drivers around, Tiger Tom Pistone, he raced in that first race in 1959, but he used to wear a scuba tank. He didn't know how to swim, and he was scared to death that he was going to wreck and fall into the water back here and drown. And so I think he carried an oxygen bottle or tank in his car and even had like a mask in case something like that happened. So, I mean, the stories that those old guys tell, and, we're here to get to race, and this is the same water that was here, 50, 60 years ago. So that's neat to be a part of that.
We have those pictures at the archives department, by the way.
Yeah, I
You'll
should have
see
brought
later
him down
today.
here today. Yeah, he usually comes down for the 500.
Melissa?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, last night we unveiled our tribute paint scheme for Darrell Waltrip. It's his last race for the Fox broadcast for 2019, and I guess his career. Darrell Waltrip has such a history here driving, and not only at Daytona, but a lot of the tracks, and his history covering the sport since 2001 for Fox. So, yeah, Darrell has meant a lot to the whole industry for a long time. And, we thought it would be awesome to pay tribute to Darrell. My team owner's from Tennessee, so he and Darrell are friends, and they have some common interest there in the state of Tennessee. So, yeah, we've got a big thank you, DW, on our car. NASCAR won't let you paint a car chrome anymore, so we got some decals that suited that chrome color the best we could, and try to honor a great accomplishment that Darrell's been able to do. And I think there's 3 or 4 other cars that'll be running a Darrell Waltrip paint scheme this weekend. So just to kind of say thank you to DW, even though it's in the middle point of our season, it's a good way to pay tribute to what DW means to not only the fans, the industry, the drivers, the teams, all that good stuff.
Anything else? Okay, we're going to let the gentleman take the water. If the media want to shoot from the